Oh boy, I don't know why. Hey everybody, I have no idea why I can't be on time. But I see everybody in here. Hello everyone, happy Sunday. One day I will show up on time. So that's okay. It's a few minutes after the time I wanted to get started, but how y'all doing? Oh, look at you guys in here. I love it. Who is here? Teapot. Like Tupac? Is this like Tupac? Yes, from California. I hope everything is well out there in California. How does one, Teapot, how does one book a session with me? Oh, and I accept insurance, not in California. Oh, what's going on? Oh, something's going on with my streaming. But anyway, if you want to get a hold of me, hello, I am Dr. Alicia. If you want to get a hold of me, go to coachingwithdralicia.com. Hello, everyone. Sandra Bullard, how you doing? Welcome to my book club on Sunday. And it is How to Be an Adult in Relationships. This is the book we've been reading from for several months now. And it's the 5 Keys of Mindful Loving. It's by a wonderful social worker. His name is David Rico. I'm a social worker. I am also a therapist. I work with couples and individuals. I'm also a college professor, but not today. Today, I'm a book reader. No, I'm a social worker always, 24/7. It's not just my profession, it's who and what I am. So I'm a social worker, and I just want to say hello to everybody and welcome to the book club. Oh, I know you guys are in here. Most of you guys are in here because you have done something really wonderful. What you did was you text love, LOVE, to 87948. That's what you did. And that's how you get notices on when I plan to go live. I try to schedule the book club around clients and other obligations I have on Sunday. And so for the most part, I adhere to the times that I say I'm going to be here. And I feel really good. I love this. Eric, how you doing? Columbus, Georgia, how's it going? James Keller, how you doing? We got some regular people in here from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And Max Love, oh my God, Max Love is here. Keep sending me messages, Max. Let me know how you're doing. He's in my DMs and I enjoy it. I miss him. I miss you when you're not in my DMs, Max. So, hello, Vaughn from Fort Lauderdale. Oh my God, we got people from all over the place. Fort Lauderdale, California, East Coast, West Coast. Anybody I'm in Illinois. Anybody in here from Illinois? Let me know. Miami, all the way down. Who's from Miami? Patricia, all the way down in Miami. Look at that. I can't click on your name. Patricia from Miami. Ashe. I think it's probably Ash. I'm saying Ashe. Oh my gosh, we got somebody from Jamaica. Amen. How you doing? I wish I was in Jamaica. I'm in Illinois, Chicago. It's gotta be. When I came home today, it was like 7 degrees and the windshield was like -20. The windshield is like super cold. So hello, and Afia Walsh from Jamaica. How you doing? I'm planning on coming to Jamaica this year. I want to see if I can try to pull it off. Compton, California. How you doing? Hey, everybody. Let's get started. Y'all know anybody who wants to work with me, contact me at coachingwithdralicia.com. And one more again, I just want to say, text the word love. It's over here. Text the word love to 87948 to get information on when I go live, to follow up with this book. I'm also going live tomorrow. Why? Because I'm talking about the inauguration. I'll be talking about politics. Yes, politics is related to mental health issues. And I'm going to talk about that with a nice little panel for tomorrow. So today, we are going to continue our conversation with how to be an adult in relationships. And to do that, we are on a very important, I think it's this chapter It is probably the most important chapter ever. And it is all about what to do when conflicts arise and what that means. So, conflicts always happen, they're normal, but it brings things up in you. Last week, we spoke about how to work things out. Got to work it out. Today, we are going to talk about how the past is not the present. The past is not the present. Oh, no, not when it comes to interpersonal relationships, not when it comes to the person that you're in an intimate relationship with. Hey, Natalie Taylor, how you doing in Chicago? Let me tell you, this is the time where you need somebody nice and warm to snuggle up with in interpersonal relationships. But even though you have someone that you can snuggle up with, you're going to have conflicts. You're going to have situations where you need to work through things. And working it out is a signal of maturity when it comes to relationships. Today, we're going to talk about a little bit more about working things out. We're going to talk about how to work them out, because sometimes it's going to take some digging into your past to figure out exactly what's come up for you, why things get you going and get you upset in an interpersonal relationship. And it is not at all the same as a one-on-one relationship. It's not having an interpersonal relationship with somebody where you're dating that person. It is not like any other relationship at all. We're going to talk about that today. I don't know. I've invited my husband to come on. He maybe Dr. Boyce will come in here. If he doesn't come in here now, maybe he'll pop in for a little bit, but I'll ask him about this, because you cannot, there's some similarities, but not very much about who you're dating. The level of intimacy is not the same as somebody that you work with. And in our profession and the things that I'm doing with my husband, we work together, but we're also married. And so it's a very interesting dynamic. So if he comes in here, I'll definitely have him talk about that if he shows up. If he doesn't show up, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I'm not going to feel abandoned by my husband if he doesn't show up, because I know what's in his heart, and I know that he is supportive of me and all of that. So, but anyway, we're going to get going. We're going to talk about how the past in the present, the past in the present. And it starts with a quote. I really think it's kind of interesting that each chapter begins with a quote. So the quote for today is by a gentleman named Henry Matzie. Henry Matzie. Henry Matzie. So what he says is, remembered bouquets, remembered bouquets, long since dead. Remembered bouquets, long since dead. This is poetry, so it's hard to get out. Remembered bouquets, long since dead. Y'all think about those dead relationships in the past, right? But you remember them. Remembered bouquets, long since dead, left in my memory the bygone charm with which I burden this new bouquet. So remembered bouquet, long since dead, left in my memory, you ain't forgotten about it, the bygone charm with which I burden this new bouquet. What is Henry talking about? Henri. His name is Henry, but I think it's Henri. So I think it's Henri. Henri is like the French version of Henry. The weight of the past. It colors the present in so many unexpected ways. And what this is saying is that similar to flowers that are faded and gone, similar to flowers that are faded and gone, the essence still lingers, and it influences how we see and experience all that blossoms currently. So your current relationships and how that blossoms and how you see it and how you experience things right now is reminiscent of flowers that are faded and gone, past relationships where you still have this memory, the weight, the memory is still there. You haven't processed things, you haven't gone through things, you haven't dealt with some of the issues. And sometimes it's old relationships, but sometimes it's things in your past, like your parents. And what it signals to us is that the memories we all carry from past relationships, whether we're conscious of them or not, because most of the memories are unconscious. Most of our memories, particularly very frightening memories that we want to kind of bury away, it's still with us, but we suppress them, we deny them. All of these really strong emotions get denied, but it shapes unknowingly, shapes our perceptions and our ability to engage fully with present relationships. So it's trying to connect the past and the present and how we approach things. And I think with this section, what we're going to get into today is the fact that we need to become aware of this. We need to have greater aware of how past issues are popping up for us in the present, and these old sentiments can guide us. And they should guide us. Like, you don't want to forget the past. They should be guiding us, but you don't want them to control you. So that's sort of, the difference there. So how y'all doing? I'm just reading the beginning part of this and talking about when conflicts happen and we react very strongly to things in our interpersonal relationships. When we react very strongly to things, sometimes we're not acting in the present, we're acting in the past. And C assignment talks about could be narcissistic personality parents. I don't know. We're not labeling. Only 1% of the world has narcissistic personality disorder. So chances are you may have had parents that were selfish. You may have had parents who were not as kind as they could have been to you. It doesn't necessarily mean that they were narcissistic. It doesn't necessarily mean that they were not, but you remember, there's nothing perfect. So even if you had parents who weren't narcissistic, you're still going to be bringing things forward. There's still no such thing as perfection. And you try to get it right as parents, but sometimes you don't. And that's neither here nor there. The thing is that it's happened and we need to process how we bring this forward. So in our current relationship, so that it does not control us. You don't want to be controlled by that. You want to be influenced, but definitely not controlled by some of the things in our past. Okay. So that's really interesting about how we bring things forward. Remembered bouquets, long since dead, left in my memories the bygone charm with which I burden this new bouquet. Burden the new bouquet. Okay, moving on. And I'm on the page of 142. I'm on page 142 at the top, and it says, we humans memorialize our past. We memorialize our past. But eventually, our archaic needs intrude. Archaic needs intrude. These are needs that hasn't been filled, right? Bill in hand to present their unpaid claims. We humans memorialize our past. But eventually our archaic needs intrude, bill in hand. They want to pay up to present their unpaid claims. So don't think that you can bury it and it's not going to pop up again. Don't think that you memorialize our past. The past is just the past. Forget about it. I'm going to start fresh, start new. It's going to show up and it's going to want to have a bill in its hand. It's going to want to be paid. You have to pay attention to it. So it's better, instead of memorializing your past, It's better to dig through your past, learn from it, see how it shapes you, bring all of the painful experiences, because you're guaranteed to have painful experiences. Bring all of those painful experiences forward and pay that bill. You do not pay the bill, it's going to haunt you. It's going to be like, it's like a, I don't know, tax collector, or it'll be like a bill collector. You know how they like call you? You're thinking, forget about that bill. I didn't charge up that card. I ain't paying that card. I'm moving on. And they're like, no, no, no. Try to buy a house. try to buy a car. Try to apply for a loan. It's going to come up and it's going to want its bill paid. You're not going to be able to have peace in your current life, which is buying a house, buying a car, having credit, going to a bank, taking out a credit card, applying for a loan. You're not going to do that if you have bills that need to be paid. Like, they're going to pull your credit score and they're going to be like, you haven't healed. What are you doing in the current relationship? You haven't even dealt with the stuff on your credit report, your relationship credit report. You have not dealt with all of these infractions. And have y'all had your credit run? And you're like, wait, what is that? I don't remember that. That was a long time ago. And they'll be like, no. And it's funny because the credit reports are usually pretty accurate. But in the moment, that wasn't me. No, it was you. You didn't pay that bill. You left that bill unfinished, but it comes up to haunt you. And you have to pay attention to it and address. In order to get the loan, you have to look at somebody and you have to address each one so that you can fix your credit report. And so that's what we need to do in relationships. The past is not the past. We have to get a credit report of our relationships, and we have to go through each one, and we have to figure out, okay, what happened? Did I not pay that? Did this person pay that? Wait, this is on. I paid this bill. Why is it still on there? I got to clear it up. So that's what happens. You have to clear up your relationship credit report. Got it? Okay. Past is not the past. If only. And you can't run from it because it's going to come back and haunt you. If only. But that's not how life works. We deal with our past issues so they do not come up over and over in our present relationships. Or if we do, we notice their appearance and take responsibility for it. This is what adults do. Adults get their relationship credit report and they fess up. They say, oh yeah, that was me. Yeah, that was me. I need to take care of that. I didn't think that that was still interfering with my current relationship. So what I need to do is address it. I need to address it. So that's what adults do. They clear it up and they take responsibility. They say, yes, that was me. Yes, I charged that credit card and I didn't pay it off. I need to go and pay it off. Adults. Without consciousness of our past, we may appear to be involved in an adult relationship, but underneath, we are playing out a scenario from long ago. Oh, you still not paying your bills. You ain't learned. Your credit score is falling and you still not paying your bills. You have not learned that you will never be able to be financially secure unless you pay your bills. You're never going to be able to be in a secure, adult, healthy relationship until you pay the bills from the past, until you recognize that you didn't charge things up and you deal with those things. You're never going to be able to do it. It will always haunt you. It will always find you and will always ask you to pay up. Memories of the past will arise in direct proportion to the rise of intimacy. So the more you connect with another person, and the more you start stripping away all of the things that you've had to cover up, the more intimate, because remember what intimacy means. Into me, you see, right? Into me, I see. So when you start seeing each other and you strip away all of the covering and you see each other in your birthday suits and you get intimate, the more you get into each other, the more these issues pop up. So really, relationship issues is a reflection of a quest for intimacy. The more things pop up in your interpersonal relationships, the closer the two of you become. And you can't get close unless things pop up for you to deal with. It's a necessary process. And I hate that. I would just love for me and my husband to just be close with no problems. But you're going to have problems because problems is embedded in the attempt to have intimacy and to maintain that. So you got to be realistic. The price of intimacy and closeness and connection and feeling good in a relationship is going to cost you growth because you have to deal with your stuff. You're going to face it. You have to face it head on. It's the price you pay for the intimacy. Memories of the past will rise in direct proportion to the rise of intimacy. This is because both the past and the present held out or hold out to the chance to receive what we always yearned for. What do we yearn for, y'all? We yearn for the 5 keys of mindful loving. We yearn for those 5 keys, which are attention, acceptance, appreciation, affection, and being allowed and encouraged to be who we are. So, without consciousness of our past, we actually may appear to be in an adult relationship, but underneath it, we are playing out a scenario from long ago. So it's a dynamic. It's rooted in these experiences. I don't know. I think it can lead us to recreate some of these familiar patterns. Yeah, I think that's interesting. Sometimes we grow up and we feel unloved by our parents or rejected by our parents. And we might carry some of those wounds into our adult relationships without even realizing that that's what we're doing. And sometimes when you're trying to get close to somebody, you may feel this discomfort. And what happens is that this discomfort can lead you to behave in a lot of different ways that make you feel, sometimes it can make you be seen as unlovable. And when you start to behave unlovable, you're cranky, you're irritable, and all these things, what happens is that you're setting the stage for rejection. So you're setting the stage to recreate in your current relationships all of the things that you didn't deal with in your past. So you're unconsciously sabotaging your relationships, especially when they desire closeness and connection, because you're scared. You're scared to be hurt. You're scared of the pain, and this is a cycle. You just kind of fulfilling this cycle of suffering that's going on from one relationship to the next. You're not dealing with the pain. Yeah, I think that's what they're saying. Okay, moving on. How can we tell whether the issue that is troubling us in an adult relationship is a present day issue or a carryover from the past? Oh boy. So how do we know? How do we know if you're upset with your partner, and is your partner really disrespecting you, or is it just a perception of disrespect that has nothing to do with the current relationships? It's you're carrying forward past issues of disrespect. How do we know? How do we know? How can we tell whether the issue that is troubling us in adult relationships is a present day issue or a carryover from the past? By mindful self examination. That's the answer. If mother so absorbed and contaminated my experience of women, what chance do I have to see this woman as she really is? How can you see the woman that you're in a relationship with as she really is when you still got mama issues? If your mother so absorbed and contaminated your experiences of women, what chance do you have to see this woman as she really is? When I feel a familiar panic, experience an anger that surprises me, or react to them more intensely than fits the circumstance, I do not know why. Then I surmise I'm not really seeing my partner's face, but my mother's. Where my husband at? Is he coming in to talk? If he's not here, I have to. We do this to each other. I think he's joining us. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But yeah, I mean, we do this to each other. I know I'm guilty of it. I know he's guilty of some of this stuff. You know, this becomes especially clear when I feel more uncomfortable and hold on to pain longer than fits my situation. So it's just, you can't let go of it. It's intense. It's a mountain. You've made a mountain out of a molehill. It could be something small, like a small infraction. You've blown it up to make a big deal when it really isn't that big. That's how you know. You can mindfully reflect on that and say, wait, how much of this is her, and how much of this is is just me making more out of it than what it needs to be? How are you supposed to know that? Mindfulness. Only issues that carry the weight of unresolved abuse or still resented past could account for such overreaction. And in a sense, it is not truly an overreaction, since the inner child is responding to a trauma from the past that still smolders. So we see it as an overreaction, but really it's a scared little child in there that's not overreacting in that moment that child felt that way and wasn't able to express it. Wasn't able to express it. You know, I've seen in relationships where there'll be an interaction and one person would be like, you were being disrespectful to me. And another person could say, well, give me an example of how I was disrespectful. And they may say, I don't have an example of how you were disrespectful to me. I just know I felt that way. That's another way to know, like, wait, you can't give me a specific example of how and what I said that was disrespectful to you, but you have a feeling that I was disrespectful. I don't know. Like, how do you respond to that? Sometimes that could be something from the past. How y'all doing out here? Wait. Oh, Sai. Oh, wait. Hold on. I'm trying to get I got comments. Someone was asking about repeat the 5 things. Yeah, please repeat the 5 things. So the 5 keys to mindful loving. Hey, babe, the 5 keys to mindful loving. Were you listening to me?
I was. How you doing, babe?
Uh-oh.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. The 5 keys to mindful loving. What are they, boys? Do you know what they are? Tell me.
I have no idea.
Come on, there are 5 things I need from you.
5 keys to mindful loving.
I need this from you.
I
You
wish I
should
could
know what the
remember.
first one is.
I'm gonna have to get an F on my homework. I'm sorry.
What is
You got to remind me.
attention?
Okay, I think I remember kind of. I don't remember all of them though. Give them to me, and I'll agree with you. Go ahead.
Okay. I need attention from you. I need acceptance from you. I need appreciation. I need affection. I need allowance. An allowance. Give me my allowance. my money. Give me my money every month.
Attention,
No,
affection,
allowance.
appreciation. Attention, affection, appreciation, allowance. And what was the number 5 again?
Wait, say it again. Write them off again.
Attention, affection, appreciation, allowance. And there was a 5th one. If somebody can.
Acceptance.
Acceptance. Yes, absolutely.
What you
100%.
think about that? I know you need that from me.
Well, yeah, and I appreciate it when I get it.
When you get
I was listening. I was really listening to what you were saying, and it's very interesting and informative. The thing that stood out to me was when I heard you talk about the relationship credit report.
Oh, you listened to that too.
I did. I mean, think about that. I want everybody to imagine if you were able to get a credit report on anybody before you date them. Like, I need to see your credit score, and I mean, that's what banks do, because banks know they're taking a risk. But the difference between you and a bank is that banks are only risking money. You're risking things that money can't buy. You're risking your heart. You're risking your time. You might be risking your youth. You're risking your body. So to me, the same way banks get a credit report before they take a risk, I think it would be nice if people were able to get a report, because you think about how many people go through, like, rather than sort of working through a tough relationship, a lot of people just keep starting over and over again, right? And people like that, it's just kind of unfortunate because they end up infecting a lot of people, not just physically but emotionally.
Look at somebody came in here and they trolling me.
Who's trolling you?
Six Academy says she stressed allowance. That's not what I mean when I say allowance. I was being
yeah. I just kind of.
Boys, I think you wish. Sometimes you probably wish all I wanted was money. So just giving me money would be so much easier. But let me tell you what allowance means. Can I?
Yeah, as a professor of finance, money, I do understand money, and I agree with you. Money can be very simple, but and it's really interesting that we have a whole world where people, if you give them enough money, they'll do anything. Like, I think somebody was asking me about Snoop. I did a whole conversation about Snoop performing for Trump and how that, I said, well, maybe it's about money, right? We tend to think that if you give somebody enough money, they'll kind of do whatever. But I don't judge that. I don't care what people do. I would just encourage people not to make decisions just because of money, and definitely not relationship decisions because of money. Because if you date somebody because of money, to me, what you're doing is you're not searching for a fulfilling experience. You're really fulfilling a deficiency. You have a deficiency of money. You don't have enough money. So you're looking for somebody that can fulfill that void. And I don't know, and maybe you can tell me what you think about that, but it almost comes to like a type of deficit spending. Like, I'm picking this person because I have this need that no one else helped me to meet. And now I'm looking for this partner to do that for me,
Well, let me tell you what allowance means, what it really means. Allowing means that we grant to others and protect in ourselves the right to live freely and without outside control.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. You can keep reading from the book if you want to. I'll just sit here and listen.
Okay, allowing is spreading out a red carpet for us as we walk into fulfillment of our deepest needs, values, and wishes.
Okay.
That's not money. That's what allowance
No,
means.
no, it's not money.
Okay, you want me to go on? Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm a student. I'm the teacher's pet.
Oh, you're the teacher's pet. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
I get extra
So,
credit.
okay. So all of us experience moments of feeling powerless, scared, trapped, compelled, and out of control. We
Mm.
are hearing the voice of the inner child calling for our attention and our adult intercession. You got it? The inner
Mm-hmm.
child does not know how to make her case directly, so she stammers her message through diffident acts and pitifully awkward feelings. Once we understand this consciously, we automatically become more adult and more compassionate toward ourselves. When consciousness connects our present experiences to its childhood determinants, we gain a sense of expanded meaning in our lives, our life experiences. This is part of our capacity to self-soothe. You got it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's I'm gonna tell you, it's really deep stuff because it's really talking about that inner child and how so many people dive into these relationships, trying to heal pain as opposed to actually confronting it and healing in a healthy way. And it's a tough, it's almost like being in a one person hell because you're going through life frustrated and sad and lonely and mad because it's always everyone else's fault. It's the fault of the world and not never me. And I think that's a trip. I mean, that's hard to do when you got to stop and say, wait a minute, what am I doing to create this world that I live in? I'm the common denominator in all this, and I created this reality. And I think that it's tough, right? And the thing about it is, truth is, like, it's easy to say it, but doing it is a whole nother thing. And I think anybody who is completely convinced that they've already done that is probably wrong. I think that the least self-aware people sometimes are the ones who claim that they're really self-aware, that I figured it out, I've done all the work. And maybe you haven't. Maybe it's almost like how the most successful people are the ones who are stressed out because they feel like they're failing all the time. And really, that's because they've set a high standard, right? They humbly pursue a high standard. So they're always frustrated. They're always feeling like, oh, I didn't do well. I didn't do good on the test. Like Nicole. Nicole makes straight A's on every test. Because Nicole's our middle child. She makes straight A's on every test, but she always swore that she failed it or swore that it went terrible, right? Because she's got a standard up here, right? So I think, generally speaking, I personally think that setting high standards for yourself is one of the few things that if you do that properly, you will have a better life.
Boys,
What?
boys, they're
Yes, ma'am.
talking about feeling powerless, scared, trapped, compelled, a hurt child. They're talking about childhood wounds that are resurfacing.
Mm.
And you have those
Mm.
wounds because there was no adult to interfere, to come in and to stop the pain, stop the suffering. That's what they're talking about.
Mm.
The fact that you felt hurt and there was no one there to protect you, no one there to help you communicate these wounds, what was happening. So, how is the inner child going to know how to communicate it as an adult?
Well, I guess you can learn, right?
It is difficult. Well, first of all, you really have to. I don't know. Some adults get it, but a lot of adults don't know how to articulate that.
Mm.
And what happens in the current relationships is that you're struggling to communicate. You regress back down to that child that was hurt, that did not have a place to help process as a child, and you become emotionally stunted. And then you grow up and you get in a relationship, and your partner is going to want you to say it. Your partner is going to want you to come on out with it. But if that inner child is so hurt and so overwhelmed, that child gets confused and frustrated. So we have to understand this consciously, that this is what's going on. That's an important step. And you have to integrate all those parts into your lives. And that's how you have compassion and maturity. So many of us, we live in such a toxic world because everybody is given the message that talking about your feelings is not important. As a matter of fact, it is the only thing that's important when it comes to being mature. If you don't have self-compassion, how are you going to have compassion for somebody else? How are you going to be mature? You're just a wounded child walking around hurting everybody else. That's what it's about.
Was that your alarm clock?
Huh?
Was that your alarm clock?
Can you hear the ding? I don't know if people can hear the ding.
Yeah, I heard the ding. You can keep reading if you want to.
Okay, I'll keep reading.
And then I'll interrupt. And I'm not going to stay long. I just want to come in and say hi.
Okay.
I'm here for background music. I can beatbox if you want to. You're going. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. Reasoned adult behavior at work and childish, out of control behavior at home with my partner point to the difference between the powers of the present and the past that ignite us. Let me say that again. Reasoned adult behavior at work and childish, out of control behavior at home with my partner point to the difference between the power of the present and the past to ignite us. When the fires of the past flare up again, we treat issues and conflicts compulsively, and they seem to have an either-or quality, obstructing the opportunity for compromise and negotiation. You're 10 toes down, not gonna budge. You're hot, mad, but only with the person that's closest to you. An ordinary transaction can replicate an early scenario that still carries pain. We are usually blind to its connection to our past. Our rational mind fools us into believing that the transaction is a here and now fact, when actually it is also an artifact from the past, evoking grief and needing completion. We are usually blind to its connection to the past. Our rational mind fools us into believing that the transaction, what they say, is here and now. It's an artifact of the past. So I think moments that often carry the weight of unresolved emotions and experiences resurfaces. And it reminds us that there's unfinished stuff happening within. And I think like you get trapped in this loop of, trying to dismiss emotions as irrelevant and misplaced, but I think it's a call for healing. What do you think?
Well, I think healing is something that everyone should do. I was actually today I talked to D1 for a little bit.
What's he up to?
He's kicking butt, changing the world and doing amazing things. And one of the things that he and I were talking about, I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this, is how sometimes it can be hard to do business in the Black community sometimes, because you do have people out there that, that may become jealous of you or undermine you, or the
Oh
trust
Lord.
the trust level just isn't very high, right? And you and I have seen some of these things happen up close. And one of the things that I brought up was, I said, the Black community has a lot of trauma. There's, that's
Yeah.
one of the emotional STDs that's just spread like wildfire. And because no one really considers, everyone talks about therapy as just something you do if something's wrong or if you're broken, and those who don't know D1, he's an extraordinary rapper. You should look him up, DEE1, and he's changing the world. He's amazing. And I really think that overall, not only is healing important, but I think you have to, once you heal, it's just like if you have a contagious virus in your body, you got to work. First of all, you got to heal, but then you have to be thoughtful about whether or not the people that you're getting close to have also healed.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they haven't healed and you've healed, it's just like if I took a bath and you were covered with mud and I went up and got close to you, I'm going to be muddy too.
Mm-hmm.
I really believe traumatized people traumatize other people. They always have that saying, hurt people hurt people. And I know that part of my journey in trying to heal was to say, I'm going to heal, but I'm also, part of my healing means I'm going to love myself enough to draw boundaries so that I'm not pulled into other people's unwillingness to heal, or their crazy trauma, or them, just, you get all kinds of stuff. Oh, you're too nice to people. You're too this, you're too that. Well, why are you mean to people? Like, what made you think you got to be a jerk to get through life? So I would encourage everybody to heal, and to also think about the people that you choose to have in your space, and try to make sure they're healing too. And if they don't heal, protect your neck, as Wu-Tang Clan used to say. Protect your spirit, because I'm telling you, there's some stuff out here that's very hurtful in this world, and it's not fair, but it's life, and you got to work through it.
Yeah, you need to be conscious. I think what they're saying is, I think healing is beautiful. I mean, but part of it is to be conscious of how the past is coming up in the present, how it's happening. That's what adults do in relationships. They're like, oh my goodness, let me try to connect this issue that I'm having right now in the current moment. Let me try to have a connection with how this is reminiscent of something that's happened in the past. That's the step that I think has been kind of like a theme throughout this whole book, that, yeah, healing is beautiful. And yeah, you're going to have things in your past that's not going to be fantastic, but can you connect the dots between what's happening right now currently and what happened in the past? Are you able to connect that? And I think that when you have that conversation with your significant other, then that is the process of shifting. That's the process of being, in a relationship where you can just reveal that. We can say, you know what, I have these issues, and I have these issues, and some of these issues come from here. And then you have the conversation. What are your issues? Oh, I have this issue because this issue is connected with this that happened in the past. That's what he's talking about in here, connecting the past with the present. And he mentioned when chapter 3, when he talked about finding a mate, you need to find a mate that's willing to do that. If you have a mate that's not willing to look at themselves at all, then that's not the best mate. That's not the right person in a relationship with.
That awareness piece that you talk about,
yeah,
which I think, healing and therapy really helps you with that. That awareness piece can go a long way. Like, part of solving a problem is just being aware that there is a problem in the first place, and the nature of the problem. So even if you don't solve it completely, like you have the issue, let's say it never goes away, at least you have something that you can kind of grab onto to understand what's happening to you in the moment, so you don't end up just making the same crazy decision that you might have made in the past. Like, that's what I found. I found, like, okay, I have certain triggers, and when I see them, I don't know all my triggers, but some of them I'm aware of. And when they happen, that's when I say, okay, let me do some steps that the therapist might teach, which I know you teach your clients at Coaching with Dr. Alicia, right? Where the therapist might have taught me things like how to breathe and, take a step back, count to 10 and, or other little things you can do. And I think if you just kind of have a process, right? Like I really feel, I strongly believe, and you're going to tell me what you think, because you're the expert. I'm not, but I'm just a guy trying to figure it out. I believe that you are your own best therapist. I believe that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I believe seriously. I believe that only you
You
really
put
know.
me out of business if that's the case.
Yeah, well, I think that therapists, like the ones that the clients that you see, they benefit from you, and the therapist is a great guide. But then ultimately, you have to make the decision to do the work. You have to make the decision to heal. You have to make the decision to be better. You have to make the decision to activate. You have to make the decision to implement. If I don't make the decision to implement, then it doesn't matter what somebody else told me. It's just like a sport. If my coach could tell me, run this way, run that way, jump like this, do this workout. And if I don't do it, then it's not going to matter, right? So ultimately, I'm going to tell you, like, I don't really know what perfect mental health looks like because I'm half crazy myself. I know these things.
Are you?
Yes, I am. But let me just tell you this. Let me tell you. One thing I can say with 100% truth is that I'm very happy. I'm happy with my life. I love voice. I love what I do. I love the people I work with. I love my environment. I love my wife. I love my space, and I know how to make it just right. Right, like cooking a meal. You might be making the weirdest food in the world. You might be making some Cheerios with steak and peanut butter, but that combination of flavors just really works for you. So and that came through self-awareness. That came through healing. That came through self-acceptance and love, and all those things that you mentioned about. What'd you say? It was the A's, the letters that start.
Okay, name them, boys. What are they? What do I want from you?
One was acceptance. One was acceptance, right? Like acceptance, I believe if you're gonna love other people, I really think you got to fall in love with yourself, and loving yourself.
You have to accept yourself. Yes.
Yeah. If I'm accepting myself and I love myself, and and I learn myself, and I learn what makes me happy, and I can kind of start there, and I know that if I've gone through the steps to make myself happy, I can show up as the best version of myself for other people, and I become that much better in a relationship, right? Okay. So that's my belief.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that now that I'm listening to it, but a lot of what therapy, it's good to know yourself, but there's a lot of good therapy can, we always talk about blind spots too. True. There's some unknowns. And so a lot of what therapy can do can help to develop your knowledge of yourself. And really, we're everything. I mean, if you want to get into metaphysics, we're everything and all these things. So I like that.
And by the way, babe, I'm going to go. I'm going to let you get back to. Yeah, it's your space. I ain't here to over talk you and stuff. I talk too much, but anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. And it was good to see everybody. And I hope y'all have a good night. And I just want to encourage you to understand that you guys know when we meet for finance class in the mornings that one of the things I've continuously impressed upon you is that you got to get your mental health right to get your money right. Like Ash Cass says in his book, Mind Right, Money Right. So that mental health piece fits into the overall plan. 3 big areas of life that matter the most: health, wealth, and relationships. Where's your mental and physical health? Where is your wealth, income, and cash flow? And where are your relationships? Are you, and they all feed into each other. I can tell you they feed into each other. If your mental health's not right, it's going to mess up your money. If your money's not right, it might strain your relationships. If your relationships aren't right, that's going to strain your mental and physical health. Do you see? So they're all connected. They're all like siblings. And I would encourage anybody in here, like if you really want to be Black and excellent, and you really want to live your best life and be happy and be fulfilled, focus on those 3 areas and say to yourself, what am I doing right now proactively this year and beyond to fix those areas and improve in those areas? And I guarantee you, if you're consistent with that, and then you get people around you that are doing the same thing, you will have a better life. That's what I want for you. I want you to have many blessings and much success and much happiness. And that's why my wife and I do stuff like this. So thank you, babe.
I'm recording you. And then when you get mad at me, I'm going to play this back at you.
I know, right? I know. Then I'm going to have to put my head down every day. Ooh, okay. I'm sorry. All right. Well, y'all have a good night, everybody.
Too much. Okay, you're distracting me. Goodbye. I'll
See
see
you
you
later.
later.
All right, baby. Bye-bye.
Yes. Okay. We're moving on, everybody. It is almost an hour we've been at it. Okay, let me just try to get through this. I always get distracted when my husband comes in. Okay. Page 143. Processing grief, which makes us feel isolated. Oh, processing grief, which makes us feel isolated, is our toughest task in life. Grief is a tough task, right? Grief is a loss. Oh, wait, what did you write? Are you so happy that your hubby came on with Dr. Alicia? Yeah, I am happy he came on. Not the recording button on boy. Yeah, I'm gonna put the recording button on him. See what he says when he gets mad at me for whatever reason. Okay, so processing grief, which makes us feel isolated, is our toughest task in life. We try to avoid it by configuring past losses as present inconveniences. Oh, why are you bringing this up? As long as we think our uneasiness has to do with a partner in the here and now, we do not have to face an old grief. Traumatic memories always present but never known. Oh, traumatic memories always present but never known may reside in our bodies and not in our conscious mind. It gets stored in our bodies. So trauma gets stored in your body if it's not processed. It gets stored in the body and it's not up to our conscious mind. Processing grief, processing loss, processing trauma is where it moves from the body out, and then you start to consciously become aware of how it's had an effect on you. Talk about those feelings. Yeah. So for example, we may have been programmed to feel an obligation to suffer abuse and to believe self-disparaging messages, which, since they were stored in our cells, now come up as automatic reactions that pilot our behavior. For example, we may have been held down in a sexually abusive or suffocating way, and now we automatically tense up when we are hugged or even touched. Wow. Unprocessed violation to the body has an effect on us right now because if someone tries to hug me, I'm going to unconsciously tense up because it's going to be so reminiscent of someone trying to pin me down. It's in our cells. We may feel pain and abandonment as adults when we are kept waiting by the person who was supposed to pick us up at the airport. A childhood belief that we cannot do anything right comes up to haunt us at a time of a divorce. We cannot avoid the belief. It is a cellular reflex that cannot be stopped anymore than we can stop our mind from thinking 49 when we see 7 times 7. It becomes automatic. Yes, automatic reaction. Who's C assignment? How you doing? That's it, C assignment, an automatic reaction. We cannot, of course, avoid or permanently rid ourselves of old beliefs and reactions. Okay, so we can't rid ourselves of these things. But we can call them by name. Okay, I'm feeling this way. I'm automatically starting to tense up because this is reminiscent of being pinned down. I know that this is what's happening. This person right now in my current life is not out to get me. This is just something coming up old from the past. You can tell yourself this. It can change your cells. but we can call them by name. And like any ghost, they may even slink away when we finally shine a light on them. Wow. When you become aware, so in the darkness, the shadow side, this is shadow work. It's in the shadow. You haven't connected the two. But as soon as you shine a light on it, it becomes illuminated. You become aware. You can see it. It's just a shadow. It's not real. How do we do this? When past issues arise, they come from the sense of being real in the present. It's not real. It's like a scary movie. You ever see like almost like a Shaggy, what is that? Scooby-Doo? How Scooby-Doo would be all upset because the ghost is coming and you're scared of the ghost. But as soon as you turn the light on and you pull the sheet off the person, it's just Bob, the furniture guy down the street. You know, it's not even a ghost in the first place. Like that is what shining the light on past painful memories, things that were uncomfortable in the past that have come up for you. It's like a ghost from the past. But when you turn the light on and uncover it, take the cover off of it. The veil, it's a veil, unconscious, subconscious veil off of that. You start realizing that's just Joe down the street from the, I don't know, from the Ace Hardware or something like that. It's not real. How do we do this? When the past issues arise, they come with the sense of being real in the present. It helps to refile them in the mental folder of the past. I feel this way because of something long gone that I have not fully dealt with. Next time, facing past issues will be easier, and gradually the old thoughts and reflexes will yield to the liberating radiance of consciousness. We live in the present of this and now, rather than the past of never again or the future of not yet. Touching, frightening, or humbling recollections linger in the memory of a lifetime long. We are never through with the past. The humdrum yesterday, yes, but not that morning long ago when someone left us so suddenly. Not that afternoon someone stayed with us so loyally. Not that evening someone touched us so wrongly. Not the night someone wept with us so strongly. The past is not through with us. The past is not through with us. No, not ever gone, all of them. Not yet shall fade all of this. Wow. This topic became another book of mine. So this is so deep. He wrote a whole book on this. The title says it all. When the past is present, healing the emotional wounds that sabotage our relationships. That might be the next book we do. It was so heavy. This section of the book was so heavy that he had to expand upon it in a whole nother text. I think that's pretty interesting. Oh, I don't know what I have to say to all of this. I think, yes, we do live in the present of this and now, rather than the past of never again or the future of not yet. That's really interesting. Yeah, I mean, we are never through with the past because it always exists in us. And I think we just need to be aware of that. And sometimes it influences our choices, given the depth to our understanding of the now. And you have to reconcile with this truth that we grow. Reconciling with this truth, we grow. Reconciling that it's a shadow of the past, like it's not really real. It's a ghost. And you carry the past not as a weight, but sometimes you can carry the past to build a foundation for the future. So I think that's what this book is saying. I don't know. We'll end it here today. It's been over an hour, and I'll be back next week. And I don't know if my husband will join us, but I get giddy when he's around. So maybe he shouldn't join us. But anyway, I appreciate being on here. I appreciate you guys hanging in with me tonight. One thing I want to say is follow me on Instagram, Coaching with Dr. Alicia. Follow me on Instagram. Also, be sure to text LOVE, LOVE, to 87948, and then you'll get a message on when I plan to go live next Sunday. Who knows what time that's going to be? I don't know right now what time it's going to be. I fit this into my client schedule. Clients come first. But if you want to be a client of mine and you want to work with me, here's my website. You can go to coachingwithdralicia.com. I am in the moment taking new people, but it's filling up here. But I just want to say hello, and I just want to say thank you. And I just want to say, hit the like button, share this with people, share this with your significant other, make this a conversation starter. Thank you, Dr. Vibe. Thank you, Chairman of the Poor. Chairman of the Poor, I love that name. Thank you, Zara and Eric and all of you all for coming in here. Ebony, all of you guys, and I will see you next Sunday. So goodbye, everybody.